Am I working on Shadow spin-off? Will it be canon to Project Shadow? And where's Charming? Hi, I'm João Felipe Santiago, writer and director of Project Shadow, Sonic vs Shadow Full Fight, and some other YouTube projects, and I'm here to tell you everything about Shadow Black-Hearted Hero. Shadow Black-Hearted Hero is a story I wrote following the events of Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Yeah, this is not exactly Project Shadow's sequel. Yeah, I had an idea for Project Shadow's second chance, but I basically adapted it to follow the events of the Sonic movies. But let's get back to topic. I wrote Black-Hearted Hero thinking of it as if it was Paramount's Shadow spin-off. So it starts exactly when they stopped on Sonic 3. I designed the whole story to fit that universe's context. But dude, Paramount never even talked to you. Why are you writing stuff for them? Yeah, that's true. But I have some reasons to have done it. First, I'm a huge fan of this universe and its potential. Second, it's really hard to create independent productions like mine, especially posting on YouTube, a platform that created random problems to every single one of my latest projects. But yeah, even though I'm a really hopeful man, I wrote the story in a way that it could work outside of Paramount's universe. Maybe as Project Shadow sequel, or a whole new thing, like an animated universe. Yeah, I could work with that. So how long would it be? When's the release date? Where can I watch it? This story could easily be adapted into a full-length movie or a 5 to 6 episode series. But to answer the other questions, well, Shadow Black-Hearted Hero might never even happen if I don't get the means to create it. And I'm not talking about money only. I'm talking about filmmaking resources, a film studio, a CGI team, a distributor. This story cannot be created the same way I did the previous ones. For Project Shadow, I paid for all of the expenses of the project and did most of the CGI by myself on my home PC. No crowdfunding, no sponsorship. The only collaborator I had back then was Levi Nunes from Flash Films, who provided all the filmmaking equipment for it. Not to mention the incredible support I got from Do Brasil and Emerging Records. What I'm trying to say is, Shadow Black-Hearted Hero is a way greater story than Project Shadow. And I'm not talking about longer, I'm talking about greater. It has a lot more characters to develop, more locations to set the story, more surprises to the audience, and of course, a lot more references. Besides, even if I had the means to create it independently, to post it on YouTube is really risky. To explain it better, let me show you some insights of what I'm cooking for this story. Rouge the Bat, the infamous treasure hunter you already know and love, now with a brand new look and the same charming and badass attitude. And she also got a lot of gadgets with her. In this story, the Chaos Emerald spread after the Eclipse Cannon explosion, so she teams up with Shadow to gather them up, but they have different goals for the journeys. Before meeting Shadow, Rouge was traveling with the Chaotix, a financially unstable team of detectives trying to find an interesting case, get some money, and recognition. These guys play a really important role throughout the story, since Shadow is acting anonymous after the events of Sonic 3. Everyone thinks he's dead, and he's too fast to be seen alive, so he's using it in his advantage. After all, he still doesn't feel like he belongs to this world. You saw the beginning of Shadow and Rouge collaboration in the last video. Shadow has all of that antisocial and menacing energy, while Rouge is just enjoying the moment, living her best life all the time, and of course, trying to ease the tension between them. They'll become good friends. Maybe even a team, but he doesn't know it yet. For now, they're just co-workers. Shadow's the brood one, and she brings me a lot of jewel thievery skills. Now let's start with some major spoilers. I really don't like to spoil that much, but this is my final shot that presented this idea to the world. Some will make an exception. As the title says, Shadow's not the classic hero type in this story. He's making his own path. So yeah, he will face some strong characters in this universe. And you might think, wait, didn't Shadow defeat Knuckles with ease in the latest movie? Yeah, but we can say Knuckles invested some time to upgrade his skills. I guess the right one deserves some respect. And yeah, of course I could prevent myself from doing it. Shadow does get more powers in this story. Let's say I feel like some things were missing to make him the ultimate life form. Now before I get to answer some of the questions you sent me, let me tell you how you can watch this story becoming a reality. Just like, comment, and share this video and this exclusive clip as a proof of concept. As much as you can, tagging Sonic Team, Sonic Movies, Paramount, me, and of course feel free to create and share some fun ads of this project. Let's make hashtag Shadow Black-Hearted Hero trending. I promise you, everything I need is a second of their attention, and I'm sure I could add so much for this franchise, either on a live action universe or any other thing that got me into. Now to some of your remaining questions. Will we see more of Shadow and Maria backstory? And other characters like Omega? Yeah, I wrote some Shadow Maria moments and Omega does appear in the story. Which character is the hardest to animate? I would say it's Rouge because of the way her personality affects the way she moves. I try to make her look good and charming all the time, and as a white flying bat, it's not an easy task. Are Shadow and Rouge a romantic couple or just partners? I personally don't think romance works well in Sonic universe, at least not between the animal characters. Of course, Rouge is charming and maybe even flirty, but there's no actual romance between them. Does Rouge give nicknames to Shadow? Yes, she called him Hot Stuff in the exclusive clip, and there are so many other nicknames like Handsome, Sparks, and so on. Would you prefer to adapt this story as a movie or a series? I think as a series I could develop a lot more characters because we have a lot more time as a series. But a movie would be a really good option too because there are some, these insane crowd moments. Yeah, there's a lot of them, so it would be really fun to watch it in theaters. How much did the CGI characters cost to be made? To me, there's a lot of time and effort and some high-end PC upgrades because I did it all by myself from scratch using Blender. And this one's a really interesting one. Where's Charmy?